Fleshies. Welcome to the leafy green world of Dr. Kyle Adams, a botanist who really digs his work even when his grant money withers away. He's got a plantastic idea. What if carnivorous plants could, think? It's a thorny problem, but he's determined to cultivate some sentient greenery. Just don't expect him to be a shrinking violet when it comes to his research, even if it means his house becomes his jungle of scientific discovery. Get ready for a tale where things get a little wild and perhaps a bit unbelievable. This captivating story was penned by Nature Guy X46, who clearly has a knack for growing suspense. And now, live! Dr. Kyle Adams is researching carnivorous plants to see if they could be made to be sentient. He lost his grant money, so he moved his equipment, his research, his plants to his house and turned one of his rooms into his lab. For 6 months and failure after failure, he finally gave up his experiment. He could never reveal to the world what he had been growing in his house, because some of the plants were no longer what someone might. They had become something that wasn't quite plants, wasn't quite an animal, but something that was still carnivorous. Very early the next morning, he saw to it that they were all destroyed. Let's face it, no one wants to have them, or whatever you want to call it. He made sure they were all gone. Seriously, who wants stuff that can eat rats just chilling in their house? Adams wasn't even sure if rats were the limit. Better safe than sorry, He had one normal-looking fly trap, and he took it outside. It went outside into his bog garden, where it can be a happy little plant. For a few weeks, everything is fine. It adjusted to being out in the sun quite well. But later that week, Dr. Adams noticed something was not quite right. His happy little plant had soaked up the sun. His tiny plant had gotten big enough to snatch huge insects. And get this, it had moved. He had no clue how, but it had totally repositioned itself in the garden. A few days later, the plant was way too big for the bog garden. Adams had to repot it. Now it was big enough to take down mantises and even bigger butterflies. And it didn't stop there. In just a month, it had doubled in size. No more just insects. Now it was big enough to grab bats, birds, chipmunks, and squirrels. The good doctor even had a creepy feeling his little monster would be munching on cats soon. In its new home, it had new room to grow. Sure enough, in the morning, the doctor found something within one of his traps. He finds fur and bones. And he doesn't know what the species are, to be honest. What he does know is that his pet is definitely taking mammals. Maybe I should invest in chickens for it, he thinks to himself. and he's sure the animals would eat it. Or maybe I should say the plants should eat it. Or maybe I should say the plants will eat it. He thinks to himself. He even gives the thought a cruel chuckle. The plant is thriving on its new diet. He then invests in some frozen rats. Like you would buy, for big snakes. He plans to feed them to his new pet. He also has plans to... He came back with a whole box of them, ripped it open, and pulled out a bag with a rat. The poor thing went into a bucket of super warm water and just sat there for a few hours. When it thawed, he took it back out and went to feed it to the plant. He grabbed the rat's tail with some feeding tongs and carefully rubbed its head across one of the huge, gaping traps. As he dragged it, snap! The trap closed on the rat. For 2 more weeks, he kept feeding the plant a rat. Until one day, when the plant was even bigger than it was a week ago. At this size, he figured it could probably take down rabbits or cats now. Definitely with no problems. A couple of days later, something seriously messed up showed up in its trap. A gross mix of fur, hair, and bones in a collar lay there, while a half-digested cat, with all its lovely organs, were all on full display, along with its tail and back legs, which sat right next to the trap. He grabbed a huge garbage bag to clean up the nightmare. Let's just say the neighborhood stray cats had a new enemy, and it wasn't animal control. The real question was, where the heck did the plant go from here? Then, about 3 weeks later, a person snuck into the yard. Apparently, they either tried messing with the plant, or they tripped while running through the yard. Either way, they lost an arm. And he couldn't get out. Apparently, they either tried messing with the plant or tripped while running through the yard. Either way, they ended up stuck. Dr. Adams checked the body and figured the guy fell into the trap. His arm got caught and he couldn't get out. The plant started dissolving his skin and then his muscles, and then he started bleeding and screaming. And then he started screaming and bleeding. Over time, the body was drained of blood, and soon he was a lifeless husk. Too scared to even speak. Dr. Adams decided he needed to give his plant more food. The rest of the man would go to the plant. It just needed to be cut into pieces. And when he was done, he fed his baby's traps various parts of the man. And after all was said and done, he knew what he had to do once the plant was finished. After everything was cleaned up and buried, he poured gasoline all over the plant. And then a match was tossed onto it. In just moments, the plant was totally engulfed in flames. And the doctor knew what he had created, and he knew the plant could never be recreated. Ever again. The end! Well, Fleshies, that's all the meat we have for you today. A huge thank you to Nature Guy X46, who's currently out in his bog garden, digging up more unbelievable tales and probably getting to the root of some new ideas. Until next time, this is the Boneyard Scribe speaking to you from the Boneyard. where the stories really sink their teeth in and leave you rooted to your seats. Pleasant nightmares, Fleshies! See you in the next one. Goodbye.